Amazing leaders. Jules here from Flying Colours Leadership. Super excited to be talking to you tonight about disconnection in your business. So, is disconnection from your business costing you money? Now, the first thing people normally ask is, well, what do I mean by disconnection? Okay, so I want you to think about your business. Do you have a finger on the pulse of what is going on in your business right now? Or have you removed yourself? And I want to give you an example. Last year, I found myself in a position where there was all this marketing going out and things going out on my socials, but I didn't feel connected to what was actually the messages that were being shared. And I started to ask myself, well, why do I not feel connected? Like I'd see things pop up and I'd be like, oh, okay, that's great, adding value to my community. But I was a bit disconnected because what had happened is though I was involved in some of the content creation, I was a little bit removed. My team had taken this real sense of initiative and they stepped in and started drafting content and really helping with some themes, and I started to feel like I was almost and there's my business over there. I had to ask myself, am I connected with what's happening in my business? And the answer at that time was no. I wasn't close enough to what was happening in my business. And this caused a lot of errors for me. And really, it started to create this disconnection for my audience as well, because our audience can feel that we're disconnected. Now, the other thing that happened when I was in this situation was I was not as my creativity was impacted. So if I started thinking about, well, what messages have I got to share? I started to almost look in the well and the well was dry. Now, obviously that's not the truth, right? I have lots of things to share, but because I was disconnected from what was going on, and this is the difference between delegation and disconnection, right? When we're delegating things to other people and getting support in our business, we're still connected to what's happening and tell me what's going on, and we're still a really, massive part of the organism of our business. When we're feeling disconnected, what I found myself doing is I was working on projects, but there were areas of my business I was just not connected to. And it showed in what was being delivered in online, what was, being communicated in my communities. My communities and my audience could feel the disconnection. Now, this can cost you so much money in your business. If your audience feel disconnected from your business, if your ideal clients feel disconnected from your business, they are not going to buy from you. So when I was looking at the online space, referrals were still flowing in. But I was looking at the online space going, what's going on? It was like there was basically tumbleweeds in my online space, right? Because I was so disconnected from what was going on in my business. Instead of delegating and then still having these touch points and really working with the team on things, I had shifted and went, you do all of that, I'm taking myself over here. Now, we don't need to spend lots of time to still be connected, but we need to look at what is happening in your business. Now, how do you know that you're disconnected? I want to ask you a question. Can you feel what is going on in your business? What is happening in your business? Right? You know how you walk in a room and you get the sense and this feeling of what's going on in the room? I want you to think about your business, and you may need to close your eyes and go, okay, can I feel what's going on in my business? Because if you can't feel almost the heartbeat of your business, and this doesn't mean you're doing everything, But if you can't feel the heartbeat of your business, there's some disconnection. Right? Now remember, I know what that's like. That's what I had last year. So what we want to be doing is going, okay, we want to tap into what is going on in our business. What's the feeling of our business right now? Is there excitement? Is there, is the everything feeling tired? Do we need to refresh? What does that look like? Is there certain parts of my business that are disconnected? Because that can be really important as well. When we can notice, well, actually, there's certain parts of my business that are disconnected. Like, oh, this part of my business, when I tap into how I feel about it, actually, no, it doesn't feel right. Now, a lot of business owners think this is really bad. Oh no, how did I get it like this? And I remember last year, that's what I had this moment as well. Oh, how did I get here? The reality is we go through seasons. We go through seasons in our business, just like we go through seasons in life. I always tell my clients that leaders and business owners that I work with, don't carry around the shame or the guilt or any of that stuff. When you notice these things, look at it differently and go, okay, that's really, the awareness, that's really great. Awareness that there is an issue is the first step. Before we're aware, it's sitting completely in our blind spots. We don't even know that it's there. Once we become aware, that is the magic where we can actually start taking action. So, awareness is key. So get a feel for what's happening in your business and think about the different parts of your business and, what's going on. Now, this now creates a bit of visibility of what is going on and what your blind spots are. So I want you to think about your whole business as different parts that are all joined together. And I want you to just think about each one separately and go, okay, do I know what's going on in that part? Can I feel what's happening in that part? And the next biggest question is, am I happy with what's going on there? Right? And if not, well, what's going on? Get curious. And this is when you start to notice the blind spots in your business. You're like, oh, I haven't been thinking about that for ages. Great. So that's when we can start asking some really great questions. Because remember, awareness is the first thing. We can start asking some really great questions.